there's this thing within like hustle culture and work culture and entrepreneurship culture where it's like, you know, I'll sleep when I'm dead. I have too much work to do. Don't waste time sleeping. Got to wake up and grind before everybody else. I get it. And working hard is super necessary. But you can work hard in a more efficient fashion and you'll be more productive if you're well rested. I want to say too, as we get into this episode, some of you guys might be listening to me like, the sleep stuff, it's like I get a decent amount of sleep. It's not a big deal. Let me tell you, like, if you have a fitness goal or if you have goals in general, there's this thing within like hustle culture and work culture and entrepreneurship culture where it's like, you know, I'll sleep when I'm dead. I have too much work to do. Don't waste time sleeping. Got to wake up and grind before everybody else. I get it. And working hard is super necessary. But you can work hard in a more efficient fashion and you'll be more productive if you're well rested. It is not a pussy thing. It is not a weak thing to get enough sleep, because in the hours that you now need to work, you'll be more focused, you'll be more efficient, your mind will be sharper, your communication will be better, your mood dealing with people will be better. When it comes to exercise, you're not going to get in, like sleep will help you not get injured as much because your body's gonna move better. You're gonna have better reflexes. And the way you stick to your diet, it's going to be easier because, as we know, you're not going to have these wild cravings as much if you're well rested.
Yeah, it'll be easier to make choices. It'll be easier to handle stress during the day. Muscle gain will be easier. Oh, yeah. Everything will be easier. Your hormones will be in better alignment towards whatever the thing is that you're working towards. So it just does so many things that it's not a great idea to mess with your sleep in a negative way. And if you are someone that likes to get after it and likes to get up early, there's absolutely no problem with that. You just have to make sure that you go to bed early. Just like a little kid, you know, are you going to bed early enough? Each person is probably going to be a little different. I don't know how much I believe or buy, you know, some of the information about like it has to be 8 hours. I think that might be something that makes people kind of worried and makes it hard for them to sleep. But like whatever amount of time you can get to sleep that represents something more or better than what you used to do is the aim. And I think it's something that you should look into.
When your sleep is optimized, your diet becomes an easier thing for you to be consistent with. Because number one, you mentioned hormones, Mark. Well, ghrelin, your hunger hormone, doesn't secrete as high during your day. All right, so you don't generally feel as hungry as often when you're well rested. Leptin, your hormone that helps you feel fuller, secretes more when you actually feel full, because when you're not rested, your stomach is like a bottomless pit. You will crave more food that you typically overeat. Now, like, it's on overdrive. I've noticed that whenever I've gotten really bad sleep, I get these cravings that I haven't felt in such a long time. So if you're now trying to stick on a diet and you're trying to be pretty structured with your eating, but you're not taking care of your sleep, well, your diet and you're sticking to the protocols you've set up for your food is going to be harder for you. But if you have good sleep, you don't need to think about that, right? You don't need it, because it's going to be something that is intrinsic. But if you don't, now you're like, oh, you have to fight against those cravings rather than your body doing what it should be doing.
Yeah, because like you hear people like, oh, I could never be that strict on a diet. It's like, well, this makes it way easier, right? This puts it on easy mode when you get sleep.
It's literally like, okay, it's what we should be doing already, but if you want to look at it as something, it's like giving yourself a crutch. And if like, let's say you have a broken foot, you're not going to try to just walk on both feet. You're gonna have something that's going to help you out. Your sleep is that thing that's going to help you walk. And if you don't have it, you're going to be trying to adjust and do all these fucking things while limping around because you're not well rested. Pat Roger family, how's it going? We talk about sleep all the time on this podcast. That's why we partnered with 8 Sleep mattresses. Now, this mattress is the Tesla of sleep. It's the Tesla of beds. Its technology tracks your heart rate variability. It changes its own temperature based off the way you sleep so that you get better sleep every single night. It is quite literally insane. Check them out. Andrew, how do they get it?
Yes, and before I do that, I wanted to let you guys know that you can actually set the bed to wake you up silently. I know that sounds weird, but actually the bed starts vibrating around your head and it doesn't wake up the entire house household the way my phone used to do back in the day. So now I just kind of have the bed wake me up silently, and it's amazing. You guys got to head over to 8sleep.com/power project. That's EIGHT sleep.com/power project. When you guys go there, you'll see a banner across the top saying that you're going to receive $150 off automatically. So again, that's 8sleep.com/power project to receive $150 off your Pod Pro cover or your Pod Pro cover and mattress combo. Links to them down in the description as well as the podcast show notes. Let's get back to the podcast.
I think the body has like some lag time to it. So I kind of have this theory or idea that we work 2 or 3 days behind. And I don't think, and I think that there's some good reason for it. Like, I think that if you get one bad night of sleep, I don't think it puts you in too much of a hole, although research may show otherwise. But one bad night of sleep, you know, one night where you slept 5 hours and you go and you do some stuff the next day. There's people who are like, yeah, man, I went in the gym and I only had 5 hours sleep, but I still pulled 700. It actually felt easy.
Yeah.
Well, how's that person going to feel 2-3 days from that point? They're going to really probably, that shit will catch up to you after a while. And I think that when it comes to lifting, you know, we can go in here and we can have tremendous output. And then the body is trying to have all that register. It's going to all the different cells. It's ping-ponging around in your body. And your body's like, hey, let's turn some of that into this. Looked like you did a lot of damage. I don't know what the fuck you did in the gym there, but that was a big one. Your body will produce hormones to try to protect it. It will throw protein in the right spots to help rebuild stuff. And you'll begin like repairing from that day of working out. But that day of working out really hard on Monday doesn't really register in the body until a handful of days later. Now it's like Wednesday and you're like, whoo, you get that delayed onset muscle soreness. So I think the body in general works that way, whether it's we're talking about learning or whether we're talking about growth from building up muscles, whether we're talking about trying to become faster or stronger. I think there's a delayed response. And I think when it comes to something like sleep, you may not notice it right away. You may not notice it all the time, but it could be that thing. You know, Ron Penna was talking about how it was like you're walking around with a backpack and somebody's throwing 10-pound bricks in it every couple days. So it's like, oh, Nsima, you did great sleeping a handful of days, but Thursday night was bad. Here's a 10-pound brick. And you go and you walk around, you do your jiu-jitsu and all your other stuff, and then you have another night that's fucked up. Here's another 10-pound brick. And maybe there's points where somebody is able to, they don't really know whether you can like sleep it off or if you can get it back or what. But it does feel like your body does feel like it balances itself out at some point. But there's a lot of people walking around with a lot of bricks in their backpack from not sleeping. And it's just extra weight that you're carrying around.
Yeah, and Nsima only sleeps 2 hours, so
yeah, he's got a lot of.
That's like level 99. I mean, you have to build up to this sleeping for 2 hours because I get in all the recovery factors. Yeah. I get in everything.
It's like the one meal a day. You just get those 2 hours are like they're the equivalent.
That's
of like,
money sleep.
Yeah, yeah.
But I built up to that over like 4 years.
4 or 5 days, yeah. What I was gonna say though, Mark, like in regards to like sleep debt or whatever, like yeah, we don't know if we can pay that debt off, but for sure, like if you're gonna have a really hard workout where you're like trying to build muscle, you're trying to do everything, you can't make up for a bad night of sleep. Like you can't have have a bad night of sleep, really good workout, and then try to be like, oh, I'm gonna actually rest up and catch up on that sleep. Like no, like it's already too late. The proper way to do it is to have the really good night of sleep and then the really good workout. That's actually the more optimum way to do it because you can't go back.